coverage, Modi in America, and those are the latest visuals that we are bringing to you from New York City's JFK airport, where Prime Minister Narendra Modi has arrived. And remember, this is a very, very significant visit because let's not forget, this is the first state visit being made by Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and not to forget the fact that this is the third state visit being paid by an Indian head of state. I'm also joined in by our managing editor, Zakka Jacob, who continues to stay with us live. Zakka, heartwarming visuals of all those Indian Americans who've gathered in full strength at the JFK, and we can actually see Prime Minister Modi warmly accepting their greetings with a firm namaste. We've also been talking about how significant the state visit is, considering the fact that Prime Minister Modi has already made 6 visits in the past. This is his first state visit. What does it speak of the India-US relationship at the moment?
All right, like you've been saying, he's visited the United States 6 times as Prime Minister since 2014. This is the first state visit, and that, of course, is the highest level diplomatic sort of red carpet, as you will, that can be extended to a visiting head of government. The Prime Minister will be getting that ceremonial state welcome. That's going to happen on Thursday. But right now, I'm outside the Lotte Hotel. This is in New York. You can see a bunch of people who have gathered here. These are non-resident Indians, Indians who are working in the United States. Some of them have been born and brought up here. Some of them have come here a few years ago, either for education or for employment reasons. And you can see a large number of them, gathered here. I'll try and see if I can go across to some of them and try and see if I can speak to some of them as to why they're here and, what brings them here. Can I just take a minute of your time, ma'am? Where are you from and how far have you come?
I'm from Hillside, Long Island.
From Long Island. What have you come here for?
To see Modi.
Okay. If you get a chance to speak to him, what will you tell him?
सबसे पहले तो मैं स्पीचलेस हो जाऊंगी, उनको देख के खुश हो जाऊंगी कि उन्होंने अपने देश के लिए काफी कुछ किया है, इंडिया के लिए, तो आई एम वेरी प्राउड ऑफ हिम.
आप कहाँ से हैं सर?
फ्लोरा पार्क, लॉन्ग आइलैंड से. हाँ.
किसके लिए आए हैं यहाँ?
मोदी को मिलने के लिए ना.
मिलके क्या कहेंगे अगर मिलने की चांस मिले
तो अच्छे. मोदी को क्या कहेंगे? मोदी न्यूयॉर्क में पहले आए, बहुत अच्छी बात है मेरे लिए. हमने तो रेस्टोरेंट में भी मोदी थाली नाम रखा है.
मोदी थाली? उस थाली में क्या क्या मिलता है?
खमन, ढोकला, थेपला, शिखंड, सब कुछ रखा है ना हमने तो. गुजराती थाली. हाँ, गुजराती थाली रखा है.
लेके आएंगे गुजराती थाली?
हाँ, लेके आऊंगा ना. कल लेके आते, कल मिलते हैं, कल सुबह में लेके आएंगे.
खिलाएंगे.
Ma'am, where are you from? And
Ohio, from Ohio.
Okay, how far is that from here?
From 9 hours driving.
You drove 9 hours.
I'm going to follow him until the Washington.
Okay, from here you're going to Washington.
Washington, yes.
What is it that is so enamoring about Mr. Modi?
Oh, he did for country so good in world platform. We are the guru. We are very proud of we Indian. So
if you get a chance to meet him while his cavalcade is here, what will you tell him?
Thank you very much. Whatever you are doing, good luck. God bless you.
How can NRIs contribute to India's growth? This is something that some of your friends here had also talked about.
He's doing very good business, so we want to now to do the business there. I am doing the real estate business there in Delhi. I have in Gurgaon 4-5 apartments. Now no problem to renting everything, anything. Money in banking system is very good. IT is developed too much.
All right, so there you have it. So a whole host of people from different parts. Some of them have come from Long Island. Some of them have come from other parts of New Jersey. One lady who had come from Ohio, driving down 9 hours just to get a chance to meet with the Prime Minister. Aside of the people who are here, there is a bunch of people who've registered to meet the Prime Minister or to greet him. Essentially inside the hotel premises. He will be arriving here in about half an hour's time. It's about 1:30 in the afternoon here in New York. We're expecting the Prime Minister to reach here closer to 2 o'clock. From 4 o'clock till about 8 o'clock, he has engagements with people from different walks of life. Elon Musk, the CEO of Tesla, will be meeting him. Ray Dalio, who's a big investor, he will be meeting him as well. A bunch of eclectic people. Falu Shah, who's a famous singer both in Bollywood and also here in America. She'll be meeting with the Prime Minister as well. So an eclectic group of people who will be meeting with the Prime Minister. That's going to be between 4 o'clock and 8 o'clock. And of course, tomorrow, like I've been saying, is the big Yoga Day event, which will happen, which will start from 8 o'clock local time at the UN headquarters. Just to give you a sense, I'm going to ask my camera person to sort of give you a sense of where we are here in Manhattan. This is Midtown. You know, you can see the famous St. Patrick's Cathedral here, one of the oldest churches in New York City. Just down the road is the Saks Fifth Avenue building, one of the most iconic buildings in Midtown Manhattan. The famous French clothing company, the Saxon company, that's down the road as well. So we're at this intersection between Madison Avenue and West 50th Street. And this is where the hotel, Lotte New York Palace, is located, and that's where the Prime Minister will be arriving any moment now. This entire lane, at least a half of this lane, has been barricaded for the press and for Indian community members. And then, of course, on the other side, the pedestrians are still being allowed to use. So it's clearly, like I said, the mahal here is one of great enthusiasm, one of great support, and of course expectations, as we've been saying.
Right, Zakka, they're also pinning a lot of hopes on critical technology and even defense when it comes to taking the India-US relationship to the next level. Take us through what's going to be on the agenda when we talk about that critical technology, and whether it is, you know, semiconductors or even drones and defense.
So critical emerging technologies, that is something that, you know, when Jake Sullivan, the US NSA, was in India last week, this is something that he and his Indian counterpart, Ajit Doval, had discussed. Right. And that is something that's going to be critical for India and the United States, the value of which has suddenly, you know, come to the fore, particularly after COVID and after we're seeing this sort of assertive rhetoric between China and Taiwan. Now, the biggest sort of phrase, the buzzword amongst US officials seems to be de-risking from China. It's a word that Antony Blinken also used when he was in Beijing just a few days ago. And in fact, that visit is also being seen as some kind of a laying the ground for a brief thaw between the United States and China. I think it's very clear from the US side, at least from the business side, that they want to try and get some degree of continuity, some degree of normalcy on the business side of the relationship. Of course, on the strategic thing, there is always going to be competition with China, and particularly when it comes to these maritime disputes. You have seen the language of the Quad statements, which is basically for a free, open and inclusive Indo-Pacific. As far as Taiwan is concerned, and I think this is the prevailing wisdom if you speak to even, you know, think tanks in the Beltway, in the Washington Beltway, that the rhetoric is at such a high level that it is going to be very difficult for Xi Jinping not to be able to try with whatever means is available at his disposal for some kind of reunification with Taiwan. As we know, that is a very unpopular opinion in Taiwan, in a country of 23 million people. A large number, 90% plus, do not see any prospects of reunification with China. But if that's going to be the singular sort of fault line, if you will, as we have seen during the Russia-Ukraine war, because no one quite expected that they would, A, go into the war, and B, that the fact that the war would last this long. It's been over a year now, and more importantly, there doesn't seem to be any kind of resolution anytime in the near horizon to that war. So I think that has once again heightened the need for countries to cooperate in critical technologies and semiconductors. I mean, the fact that 90% of the world's semiconductors are manufactured by one Taiwanese firm, the TSMC, the Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, that is a grave risk to electronics manufacturers, not just Chinese manufacturers, even Japanese, South Korean. Now a good degree of manufacturing of smartphones has moved to India as well. So for all of them, I think that is going to be a critical thing to try and sort of, if not insulate, but at least try and diversify the semiconductor supply chains in a way that if there were to be a potential military confrontation between China and Taiwan, at least this critical technology is protected and its supply chain is not broken.
Right, Zakka.